So good afternoon to Dr. Sanyogita Nadkarni and Mrs. Anupama Ganu. Thank you so much for
Hello.
coming over, Follow My Psychology. It's my privilege to have you both. So Nadkarni ma'am, I have been a student of you, so it has been an honor to be there on this board with you. And Anupama ma'am, it's always a privilege to meet a person like you in person. I would love to meet you in person. So
Same
before
here. Yeah.
yeah, so before getting into the detail of this interview, firstly, I would like you guys, like you both to, if you could explain, brief introduction about yourself. Like, Narkani ma'am, if you could give a little.
Yeah, I'm Dr. Sanyogita Nadkarni. I'm an MBBS doctor and I trained in UK. I did my MRC psych from UK, which is equivalent to the PG degree in psychiatry over here. After that, I specialized in child psychiatry because not only I liked the subject, I felt there was a dire need for such services in India. So I started practicing over here. I've been practicing for the last 10, 15 years. And uh, I've been privileged basically to have support of my therapist, especially Anupama, who has been crucial in terms of, helping us out with different kinds of therapies, especially play therapy. And we do parent counseling. We train parents in terms of, changing their parenting style, because quite often it is a parenting style that may be a problem, creating a problem with the child's behavior. But we also try to understand the child through his or her psychological needs. Like children are very young, they cannot express themselves. So this is where Anupama actually helps me. And together we have a center called as Mind Brain Solutions in Pune, and we are getting good response to that. Yes.
So much great.
Thank you.
And Anupama ma'am, before you give the introduction, I would say, that was a question coming in my mind. Your name has existence nowadays in social media because there is a serial called Anupama, which is on parenting
Oh,
skills. Yeah, it's
really?
one of the famous serials going on. So
Oh,
I would
really?
yeah, I would say
Oh,
that that's the thing I was always like when I heard your name, this was the thing which was I wanted to tell you, I wanted to tell you, I wanted
oh, oh, we should check that out, Sanyogita. I didn't know.
yeah, sure.
Definitely. I'm
Yeah.
interested.
So the thing is, and
Yeah.
it's like people don't even the youngsters don't miss a single episode of the serial. It's that
Wow.
addictive
Oh,
kind of
really?
thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Definitely we
yeah.
should
Yeah, which
actually
channel is that
watch it.
one?
It's topless, and
Star Plus.
everyone is going to give like it's about parenting. It's about how a woman in the society is being treated. So she comes out for the woman empowerment and everything. So the
Oh,
Wow.
Anupama
okay.
is like a name right now
Okay.
everywhere.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad
So
in a way.
can you just describe
Yeah.
me like about your career and about how has
Oh,
been your
sure.
journey?
Yeah. So I did my master's in child development from Mumbai University, and back in '91, and then I was in US for a few years. So there I got trained into family counseling, and also I got introduced to this therapy called play therapy,
Okay.
which was very very new in India at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So we came back from US in 2005, and here I met my mentor, Dr. Meera Oak, and she actually, trained me into play therapy. And as Dr. Sanyogita has mentioned, like even I have been working in this field from 2005. It is a very new concept in India. Not many people are still don't understand what is it. So
Yeah.
I have a huge support from Dr. Nadkarni on that front. She totally believes in it and she supports me. And yeah, we are taking it forward as a team, definitely.
Exactly. That's so sweet. So the thing is, we heard this word play therapy. Aaj tak, matlab,
Yeah,
there are a lot of words we are hearing with concern to children. We have been hearing about OT, DBT, and a lot of
yeah,
therapy. But when I came across, like I was talking to Narkani about play therapy, it was really new for me. And
yeah,
when we had before sessions, when we were doing the behind the scenes, so it was like I never heard about this before. And
yeah,
even the audience, this time the theme of the mental health week is awareness. So I would
right.
like if you could tell us what is play therapy basically.
Sure. So, play therapy actually, it's based on a very simple fact that all children love to play and they express themselves through play.
Okay.
So first we have to, as an adult, we have to understand that kids just like us, they go through different emotions throughout the day, not just positive, but also negative emotions like anger and jealousy and stress.
Yeah.
And what happens is that, if adults around them don't understand these emotions, then the child still has them. The child doesn't even realize that he has these negative emotions, but he expresses it through different ways, which can come out, through tantrums or through, child becoming rebellious or back answering
Right.
parents or school refuses. So in play therapy, what we do is we encourage the children to express all these pent up emotions through medium of play, which they like the best. And we create a
Okay.
very stress-free environment in our play therapy room, so they feel very free with us.
Yeah.
Express whatever comes to their mind. And then through our observations, sometimes we also provide them with coping strategies,
Right.
how to handle certain situations if they are unable to do it on their own. And
Exactly.
as Dr. has mentioned, many times parents are also actively involved in play therapy sessions.
Okay.
So that is a gist of play therapy, where we, use play as a medium.
Right. So the thing is, as you said, it's a stress-free environment and everything. Then the child itself feels like coming over there like every
Absolutely.
time, that
Yes.
I'll get
See,
a
the
place which
basic
is mine.
difference is, the basic difference between adult therapy and play therapy is like, you can talk to an adult sitting across the table,
Right.
and, he will be able to tell you what is bothering him and what he wants from you. With kids, many times, as I said, they don't have that verbal capacity also to tell you what is bothering them. So,
Exactly.
but it comes out through play.
Exactly.
So,
So,
yeah.
as you said, there are two kind of children, like neurotypical, neurodiverse kids, and everything. So, I would say that play therapy. What do you
Mhm.
think? Like, is it just for special kids, or you can use it universally, or on what kind of kids this play therapy is mostly implemented over?
I would say that each and every child needs it at some point.
Okay.
uh, but mainly, like, we use play therapy for kids who have emotional problems, who have behavior problems, like right from, the comparison, competition in school, to sibling rivalry, or parents going through divorce, separation. Like, today's kids, they are going through a lot. So play
Yeah.
therapy definitely helps dealing with these issues. Also, play therapy works as a supportive therapy for special needs too. So
Okay.
traditionally, it was said that play therapy is most effective for children from 3 to 13 years of age.
Okay.
So, but of course, now it is used for all age groups,
All age
even for,
groups.
yes.
Yeah, in fact, we have a modification of this play therapy for older children like teenagers, young adults, and even adults, and it's called the self-expressive therapy.
Okay.
Because, see, life can be actually thought of as metaphors, symbols, and everything around us is actually representing something, to
Right.
that effect. So in play therapy also, similarly, we can have symbols, and it's a reflection of your mind, what is going on in your life, the interpretation of life in your mind. And that
Right.
way we can help the client also to connect to the outer expression. And then we can be also guided by what may be actually happening in his mind, which he or she may not be able to express
Yes,
properly.
yes, yes. And I
Mm.
think that
That's
is the advantage of having play therapy sessions, where sometimes adolescents, even adults, they don't want to be verbal. You don't want, maybe, don't want to share what is there inside you
right. Right.
verbally with your closed ones or even with a counselor. But play therapy really helps you to express that in a very non-verbal way.
Yeah,
Just to
it,
give you
it
an
it
example,
it
we
looks
can use,
it looks more like a projective technique, like where unconscious desires are just coming out in a medium of play, where the person sometimes as you said, it's really not easy for a person to verbally say out what is he going through, what is she going through, but as a
right.
medium of play, you will just express it out, and maybe the person who is examining you will be able to understand your problems and will be able to seek help.
Yes.
That would
Yes.
be really
Actually,
great.
you know, Virginia Exeline, who is the pioneer in play therapy,
Okay.
she believed that each and every child is capable of solving his or her own problems. So, you
Yeah,
know, so
this is even the
yeah,
humanistic perspective. Like I am just right now
humanistic.
studying, so
Yeah,
I
It
just
is,
yeah.
it is.
know.
It is. I mean, she took it from Carl Rogers' humanistic approach,
Yeah, see.
and she modified it for children. So,
Right.
if we provide the proper environment to that child, the child is capable of solving his problems.
I'm
And we
glad
have
I'm
to believe
studying in
in
the
that.
right way.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
Nadkani ma'am, as you said about parenting, so there's a thing,
Right.
where there is a child, if there's a child and the child is having social communication disorder or not able to express him or himself or herself properly,
Right.
and the parent is like, I'm telling my child to do a particular thing various time, but he's not responding, she's not responding, and then the aggression builds up, the frustration builds up, because the parent is not understanding what is the child having, and then the
Yes.
parent
Yeah. Yeah.
ends up having some kind of aggression and frustration over the child in the form of scolding or beating. Is this going to have an
Yeah.
impact over the mental health of the child, and what do you say about this?
Yes, Aisha, I think it is definitely going to have impact on the child because not just children with social communication problems, any child who is receiving any kind of authoritarian parenting style, the way you actually described it, scolding, beating, harsh discipline, criticizing, and all that, which is called the authoritarian parenting style, is going to have an impact on the child. And not just for a short term, but even for a long term, if the parent is not willing to change his or her way. Okay. So short term में क्या होता है कि the child may have a lot of fear for the parent, and it's
Right.
going to affect the bond between the parent and child. So the child is going to feel rejected. There will be a lot of resentment towards the parent also. Then again, the behavior of the child will be such that he will not be doing certain things in front of the parent, but behind their back, they will be actually doing it. So there is
Exactly.
no point in actually that harsh discipline because the child is anyway is learning that ये माँ बाप के सामने सिर्फ नहीं करना है या dad और mom के
Yeah.
सामने सिर्फ नहीं करना
Yeah,
है,
yeah.
but he doesn't realize the true difference between what is right and wrong behavior. Okay.
Right.
Then again, if the parents are aggressive towards the children are also going to learn from the parents because all the time you are the role models. Like as parents, we are the role models for
Yeah.
our children. So they end up learning the wrong things like गुस्सा निकालना सही बात है, यानी कि मारना किसी को मारना वो भी acceptable है, ऐसे हो जाता है. So ultimately the whole purpose of disciplining the child is defeated, and not just defeated, it comes out in a very negative way because the child will also have psychological problems like anger, suppressed anger,
Hmm.
which he may actually project it on any adult or even his friends, peers, and all that. And secondly, low self-esteem because he's constantly feeling rejected. So he's going to feel unwanted and he
Yeah.
will be looking for some other company which may be wrong also. So he
Hmm.
may end up in the wrong company simply because they are accepting him and the family is not. So it has a huge impact that way. And unfortunately, many parents don't realize this. And they
Hmm.
say कि नहीं harsh discipline करने से ऐसे होता है कि उसको याद रहेगा. तो सिर्फ याद नहीं रहेगा, ऐसे भी होगा. बहुत सारे problems are going to come.
Going
Right.
to.
Yes.
And one more point you
Yeah.
addressed very important was like I have also been come across this situation where the parent says, आपके पास आता है तो कर लेता है, हमारे सामने कुछ नहीं करता है. The child is like in
हाँ.
the play, the child will do everything, but when we are asking, we are
Yes.
doing the same things with him. So maybe they are answering their own question because the mode of we doing and then the mode of they doing it is totally different, and that's
Absolutely.
what.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's what the second question, like the following question I would ask Nadkari ma'am, that when as you said that if you're going to be aggressive, if you're going to be the scolding parent, definitely the child is going to learn that this is the only way that how I can also say out my emotions. So what according to you,
Yeah.
because the thing is nowadays, if you're saying that if the child is not able to express things out, he's gonna
Hmm.
show things out by showing tantrums or by showing some
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
behavioral
rebelliousness.
issues or something. So, according to you, what are the various strategies a parent can adapt to deal with this behavioral issues?
Right, right. It's a good question. Actually, I know parenting is not at all easy, and it's a continuous job 24/7. And unfortunately, you don't get paid for it or even a note of thank you from anyone, but that's okay. I think it has its own joy also. So parents lose this joy very quickly because they get into kind of, they learn from everywhere. They have this maybe this need or urge to get a lot of information and trying to actually do everything with their child, which they don't need to. They can go slow with parenting. Every child is going to take their own time in terms of development. The bonding is going to happen. Just one incidence or just one here or there, failure in terms of parenting is not going to affect the child so much. It's a continuous thing that is going to affect the child. This they need to bear in mind first. Secondly, parents are also under a lot of stress because today we have working parents, especially working mothers. There can be financial stress. There can be marital difficulties also. And let's not forget, each of us is also carrying an inner parent within us because the parenting style that we had as children, which our parents gave us, and some of us actually, the generation difference is also very obvious, meaning that uh, authoritarian parenting was the go-to parenting in the earlier days or the earlier generations. But
Yeah,
nowadays it is not so. So parents who have had authoritarian parenting, they keep forgetting that this kind of parenting is not going to work today with my children,
yeah,
And of course, there are family dynamics also, like especially we see in joint families, the grandparents are very lenient towards the grandchildren. They have to be, they are in that stage of life, but parents need to discipline. So there may be a little bit of conflict between the intergenerational conflict we call. So that is all going to happen. So all these things need to be borne in mind, how to tackle them. But
mhm,
of course, the good style of parenting, we always tell the parents, is authoritative. So it is not authoritarian. There is a difference. You keep the authority, but you use it appropriately. Don't abuse it. Okay. So abuse of the authority is authoritarian, but the correct use of authority, like what the parents need to do, because they're, after all, they are caring for their children. Children don't have the inherent capacity to look after themselves or guide themselves. So whose job is it? It is our parents' job. Okay. So they can do this through correct disciplining, like, telling the child what is right and wrong, but not just telling, but showing also. Then we have limit setting, rules, giving a lot of praise and appropriate rewards to the behavior. And secondly, through their own stress management. And the most important thing to remember is that both the parents actually need to be on the same page. A lot of times it happens that one parent is doing the correct way of or style of parenting, and then the other parent is coming and they are very permissive. So that may happen if the inner child has been suffocated in their childhood. So they want to give everything to their child, but let's not actually we always tell our parents that you and him or your child are different people. They are not the same, so you can't live through your child. This is again an important thing. So many parents try to live their own conflict through their child. So many areas where we can improve with some professional
yes,
help, and some is obviously, they come to know about it. They
right.
know. Sometimes parents tell us, "Ki, this is what is going wrong. What should I do about it?" So we guide them. So there are a
So,
lot of
yeah.
issues
So
related to that.
one of the
Yeah.
thing which you said that both the parents should be on the same page is very much important because I've seen myself. One parent is like, I want to send my child for the therapy because I have accepted that yeah, my child is having some kind of issues. He needs to deal with it and he'll come back. And one parent is not it come on the acceptance stage and he's like, no, this is just normal. It will get okay on its own. And the parent one, so the parental conflict is somewhere impacting the child's mental health,
Absolutely.
and
Yes,
the
yes.
child is not able to
Many
deal with.
Absolutely.
times, many times we see that.
Interparental conflict, especially between mother and
Yes.
father,
Yeah.
because a lot of times what we see, they have not gelled, and they may have had marital discord or difficulties even before the child's arrival, which were not ironed out properly. And then the child has arrived on the scene, and then again the differences become even more apparent,
Hmm.
you know. And sometimes they do live their conflict, the marital conflict, through their child also, because then it becomes a competitiveness, a kind of a competition, who's going to, get more attention, more love from the child. So the one becomes a good parent, the other has to be the bad parent.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So the thing is, I
True.
think along with just solving the issues with the child, the parenting counseling is also a very important part
Very, very necessary.
Yes, yes. It
in
goes
the
hand
Yes,
in
well-being of
hand.
a child.
We
goes
allow
hand
the
in hand.
child to
Yes.
express their psychological needs through play therapy, because we don't talk with the child as such because of their limitations in terms of communication and speech and verbal expression. But parent counseling is equally important, and sometimes we do literally role plays, because parents say, no, if we do just a parenting style assessment, then they may not open up so much. But when we do a role play, we come to know, oh, this is how they really do it. And it is a kind of a self-reflection on what we are doing. I think we all need those kind of, role plays where we can also understand our stance.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then after this, this is done again back in play therapy room, where we ask parents to actually demonstrate what they have learned. And
Okay. That was coming
and
up
then
to
how
that
will you?
also, that, what you're saying,
Yeah.
ma'am, that,
Yeah.
when you're talking about play therapy, now the one question which the parent is having, my child is not gelling up with me only. The child is gelling up with everyone, but not with me only.
Yeah.
So, is there any kind of play strategies, things which we can use that the child also, the parent can enhance those, use that strategies that the child can also bond up with them? Is there any kind of thing?
I mean, we come across many, many parents who say that, I'm always with my child. I do so much for my child, but still, he doesn't feel close to me. No, so then we do ask them, like, what kind of, can you tell us what you do when you are with your child? And it is always like, more in terms of instructing the child, criticizing the child, talking about the academics, talking about the exams. So the quality time is spent in, actually doing all this. Or there is other set of parents who, as I mentioned before, who think that we give a lot of gifts, we take them to mall every weekend, and then they should be happy with us. But kids don't need that. Kids need an adult who is genuinely interested in them, who is who wants to know what the child is going through every day. So we do create and we do teach parents to have a special playtime with their children, where we tell them, as Dr. Nadkarni had said, we have to balance, right? The discipline and the freedom you give to the child. And that freedom is given to special playtime, where the parent is going to be like a friend with that child. The parent will follow whatever the child wants him to do, and play with him genuinely, talk about general things, like share his experiences, ask the child how about his friends, not about school or teachers, talk about films, so creating a friendship with your child is very, very important, because that strengthens that bond. Then the child will see you just not as a very a parent who is very strict and critical all the time, but also as a friend to whom he can go to when he is in need,
Yeah,
or he
exactly.
faces. That open relationship needs to be there, and especially in today's times.
Yeah, नहीं ऐसा बोला था adolescence में, the child and the parent becomes friends, but this is what you have to understand. It starts from the childhood itself.
Yeah,
That
True.
so you have to
and
try
actually
to,
how it should be done, no, that's what we tell them.
yeah,
Like many of them say we are friends, but then we have kids
exactly.
who tell us that, "Oh, don't tell this to my mom, huh? Don't tell this to my dad." So then where is that coming from? Why
Now the
this
kids
child is
have
scared? Yeah.
so much understanding that the kids tell their parents only that you just say that you're a friend, but you always introspect me like a parent every time. So it's just the child coming to know that what's happening. Well,
and we
it
also
was,
tell parents, that we should not come across as an ideal parent. It is perfectly okay to share our weaknesses with the child too. So the child should see you as a parent who goes through ups and downs just like him. And then the child is more open to you, right?
Yeah, because ideal parenting, if you're just going to follow that, the child is not going to relate to you. The child is going to feel that, no,
Exactly.
I'm just going to look up to you as a role model, but I'm
Role
never going
model.
to be like you. So
Yeah,
you said a
exactly.
very important point that, you have to show your vulnerability, also your good strengths
Absolutely.
sometimes to the child. So the child is
Ex-
feeling it okay, that it's okay to show up my weaknesses also equally. That's a very
Yes.
important point you addressed right now. So yes, it was really such a healthy and such a beautiful discussion over play therapy about parenting strategies, and I thoroughly say that the audience is going to be really benefited by this discussion. And like one more time, I would say it was such a great privilege to have you both on board with me today. And thank you so much, Nadkarni ma'am, for giving me this opportunity that I could come over here
Thank you,
and
Ayushi.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for giving us opportunity.
hey, no,
Yes.
this is such a great thing. I got the chance. And lastly, I would say that you said about the mind-brain solutions, right?
Yes.
In
Yes.
Pune. So I would definitely like to give a reference in my description of YouTube about this mind brain solutions, your location and your number to contact. So if any person with some issues in the child or parenting counseling can reach up to you over there, and it will be
Definitely.
they
I'll
can
share
be
the
benefited.
contact details with you, including the email address. Yeah.
Sure, I will do that. And one more time, thank you so much, Nadkarni ma'am and Anupama ma'am, for coming over here,
Thank
just
you.
addressing my
Thank you.
audience with your valuable inputs. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Take care. Bye bye.